I'm Theo.
And I'm Juliet.
And this is Apologies Accepted.
We offer an entertaining look at some of the big issues in history by examining public apologies of the famous and infamous.
We're looking at politicians, serial killers, actors, and you.
Send us a public apology you would like to make, and we'll read it on the air and give you a chance to redeem yourself or just get some guilt off your shoulders.
We're here for you. Once a week, maybe more if you're really, really sorry.
Hey, everybody. This is Apologies Accepted,
the podcast.
And I'm not Theo.
And that makes me Theo, but that also means I'm not Juliet.
That's true. It's very true. Today we're going to talk about, but before we talk about what we're going to talk about, let's talk about the bacon. What's shaking, bacon?
Well, so what's shaking bacon is summer. Summer is here. Summer plans are here. Summer plans are happening,
Nice.
whether I want them. Well, that sounds bad, whether I want them to or not. But yes, and so we're in the desert. I drove out last week of June, and I sent you a text about this incident, but it's still it doesn't haunt me, but it's one of those moments I will remember forever, right? So I was driving through New Mexico, which I have done maybe 15 times in the last 10 years, easily. And through New Mexico on the 4-lane highway, right? 2 in one direction and 2 in the other direction. There are these yellow traffic signs.
Signs. Yeah.
Yeah. And the signs make a complete sentence, but piecemeal, right? And so the signs say, dust storms may exist, which in itself is a true statement. They may exist, may not exist, right? And then it says, pull over, turn off car, take your foot off the brake. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've clearly seen these. I love those signs, and I laugh at them every time I, in the past, have driven by them, right? Not the fuck this time, because there was a dust storm. It was not a may exist. It was like, oh, this is what the problem is. Wow. And have you ever driven through a dust storm or been caught in one?
Yeah. Yeah, it's scary.
I never have. And so the world completely ended. The sky, the air, everything was just this brown red, right? Mm-hmm. I could not see more than like 5 feet in front of the car. So I did all the things that I'd laughed about and waited a few minutes, and the storm broke. And there were people still driving, right?
Crazy.
And they had their hazards blinking, and they were going like 5 miles an hour or whatever. So okay, I was like, I'm just going to join the parade. That's it. I'm just going to be real careful. We're doing 5 miles an hour, and we're just going to do this, right? So that's what I did. And I kind of came out of the dust storm a little bit, but there was another dust storm not too far down the road, right? So it was kind of patchy. And I looked in my rearview mirror, and there was a semi, like a double trailer, right?
Yeah.
And it was, I don't know how fast it was going. I was not going fast, right?
Yeah.
I was probably doing 10 miles an hour, not 5. The wind picked it up and knocked it over on its side like it was a child's toy. And it had been in the fast lane. And when it flipped, it flipped over and was still in the fast lane. It flipped on its side. It wasn't like a 180. And so, which meant that the slow lane was still open, but the truck was kind of halfway over the slow lane. But I could see cars driving around it, right? And I thought, oh, I've got to stop. I've got to stop, and I've got to help that guy. And I'm like, no, you don't.
Oh, my God.
You have to go. You're not a nurse. You're not a doctor. There's a dust storm, and you're going to put your car in reverse and reverse back like 2,000 feet. I don't know how far away I was, but I wasn't that far away. And so I kept going, but then I called James because it was such a surreal moment.
Terrifying.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, the truck lifted up off of the ground, right? In my
Yeah.
memory,
Wow.
anyway. Maybe it just
Yeah.
fell over. My brain added that detail. But no, I swear I saw all the wheels come up. And so I called James and I told him, and, he was like, well, did you stop and help the driver? And I was like, no, no, I have to get to the Hotel McCoy right away. I've been driving for 10 hours. I need to keep going. But also, I just would have created more of a ruckus by
Right.
driving in reverse in a dust. Yeah, no. And there were other cars there. So I'm putting the responsibility on the other people.
Right.
But yeah. And then it didn't occur to me until like hours later that, oh my God, Theo, in an alternate universe, you could have been passing that slow moving truck in the dust storm and it could have flipped over on your car. You could be dead in another year. So then I worried about that. Yeah. So
Yikes.
more fucking respect than ever for those yellow signs, which I've
they're lifesavers.
always thought were just so dumb. Because I drive through New Mexico. It's beautiful. That's it.
Yeah.
Nothing but pretty and calm and good weather.
I hate dust storms.
Yeah. So, wow. I learned something about the world. I did. And then a bunch of nonsense here, but I'll say like that's my big earth-shaking thing. I narrowly escaped death. What
You
that
did.
was. I did.
It's dramatic.
Yeah, and aside from that, that's it. So we're here at the house doing stuff. Family and friends are coming through all summer. It's a gorgeous parade of visitors, and I hope my liver can take it. And what about you? What's shaking bacon?
Well, I'm on steroids, so I'm really irritable.
Bodybuilding competition coming up?
Yeah. No, I got my face lasered yesterday, just as I often do I have rosacea, so it just clears it up, but I have to keep going back every 3 months. And afterwards, they give you a couple days worth of steroids. And sometimes steroids generally make me mad.
Sure.
They just make me mad. So I've gotten into some altercations while I've been on steroids that are kind of funny in retrospect, but not so funny at the time. And yesterday, the dog peed in the kitchen, and I was so mad. I didn't know why I was so mad. I mean, the dog probably peed because, she had to pee, and she was trying to tell us that she had to go out, but we're like, it's not your usual time. You can't have to pee.
Right.
And she was like, yeah, I really do. I really do have to pee. So she did. And I wasn't mad at her, and I wasn't mad at Brent. I wasn't mad at anybody. I was just mad.
Yep. And
then I realized, oh, yeah, I'm on steroids. So that's why I'm so mad. I didn't realize that until like this morning, though, when she peed on the floor again. But it's all cool because I think I took my last dose and I'll be fine from now on. So, okay, good. The other thing is that in the Arizona house, they're replacing the windows and painting the inside of the house. And that's all a big ordeal because it's the only contractor in town and they're not very communicative about when they do their work and what they're going to do and what their plans are. And me, I guess because I'm a project manager, I like to know when things are going to be happening. And if you could show me a project plan of exactly when you'll be painting the ceiling in the living room, that would be nice. But no, that's not the way they operate, and I have no choice. But I really like them. They're really nice people, and they're really cool, and they're very helpful to me. They're extremely helpful to me most of the year. So it's just that when it comes to getting things done, I've been waiting for them to do this work for 4 years. So
wow.
That's a long time. Yeah, that's a long time. And I understand it's not urgent, so I haven't really been able to complain very much about it, but it would have been nice if they'd done it sooner. But at least they're getting to it now. So there you go. And then the other thing I'm doing is I'm going to New York next weekend, and I'm going to see Titus Burgess in Oh Mary, and I'm going to see an Irish play at the Irish Repertory Theater called The Weir, which is supposed to be good. And then I'm going to do a couple walking tours. I decided to do the walking tour instead of doing them on my own, because if I do them on my own, I probably wouldn't really pay as much attention or get as much out of it. So I'm doing the walking tour of the High Line and Chelsea Market and Chelsea in general, and then downtown in the Brooklyn Bridge and Dumbo over in Brooklyn as well. So that's all near the hotel where I'm staying at, and that should be super fun. So I'm looking forward to having a good time next weekend off the steroids.
I would love to see you in New York on steroids. Oh my God.
I probably would fit in really well.
Yeah, actually, you might. Just be real. Get the fuck out of my way.
It would be nice if I could actually say those things for once instead of just thinking them.
I say them very
Ah.
quietly. I whisper them. Get the fuck out of my way.
Yeah, totally. So what are we talking about this week? We're talking about Dr. Christina, and I don't know how to say her last name. It's either Probst or Probst.
I know, weird, right? I wasn't sure how to
Are
say
you
it
going to say
either.
something?
Propst?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we can say Probst. Today we're talking about Dr. Christina Probst. She's a Houston pediatrician whose Facebook post during a deadly Texas flood caused a PR storm of her own making. And the other thing I don't know how to say is Carr County, Texas, which I think is Kerr County. But where we grew up in North Carolina, it's Carr is K-E-R, it's pronounced Carr. But I think everywhere else in the world it's pronounced Kerr. And I think in Texas it's pronounced Kerr. So in Kerr County, Texas, there was a torrential flooding in which over 100 people lost their lives, including children. You probably remember that. And in the middle of that, a Facebook post appeared from a user named Christina. And the post said, Kerr County MAGA voted to gut FEMA. They deny climate change. May they get what they voted for. Bless their hearts. And internet sleuths quickly linked the post to Dr. Probst, a board-certified pediatrician working for a Houston clinic called Bluefish Pediatrics. Her post was, of course, widely criticized as cruel, tone-deaf, and politically vindictive in the face of tragedy. And Bluefish Pediatrics moved fast. First, her bio disappeared from the website. Then came the statement Dr. Probst was no longer employed at the practice. They emphasized that her post did not reflect the clinic's values, mission, or level of compassion. And, of course, the internet demanded accountability, and Dr. Probst actually responded. So I'm going to go ahead and read the apology unless you have something that you want to add before I do.
No, I mean, obviously a lot of thoughts about what she said, but I'd say nothing to add. We can definitely go straight into the apology.
Okay, so her public apology said, and I think, did she issue this on Facebook too? I actually don't know, but I think so. I don't know where else she would issue it. It's not like she could put out a press release on her own behalf. She said, I speak to you as a mother, a neighbor, a pediatrician, and a human being who is deeply sorry. I take full responsibility for a social media comment I made before we knew that so many precious lives were lost to the terrible tragedy in Central Texas. I understand my comment caused immense pain to those suffering indescribable grief, and for that I am truly sorry. I would like to make clear that my regrettable comment was in no way a response to the tragic loss of human life. But the words written were mine, and regardless of how they are being presented, that is a fact that I deeply regret. I want to apologize to each and every individual suffering through terrible loss in this difficult time. As news of heartbreaking fatalities became clear, I immediately removed my thoughtless comment, as it does not reflect the depth of my compassion or the respect I have for each and every human life. Unfortunately, my online comment is now being shared with the false impression that I made it after the devastating loss of life was known. I did not, but again, the comment was mine and mine alone. Even in these divisive times, some things are and should remain sacred. Human life is sacred. The well-being of children is sacred. Politics and party affiliation should never affect the judgment or actions of any medical provider and have never affected mine. Anyone who has sat in my office, cried on my shoulder in moments of loss, afforded me the privilege of helping their child grow, or trusted me with their child's life, knows that I am tirelessly committed to children's medical care and would never be so callous as to make such a remark about lives cut so terribly short. I did not choose my words with the sensitivity the moment required, or with any awareness of the heartbreaking loss that would later become clear to all of us. My comment came from a place of frustration, born of my belief that our communities, first responders, healthcare system, early warning systems, and disaster infrastructure need more and better support and funding to help prevent and respond to tragedies such as this. But my poor choice of words has been perceived as a response to this tragedy, and for that I am deeply sorry. I respectfully ask that no responsibility or harassment be directed toward my former employer. They are kind, hardworking, dedicated pediatricians who had no role in this whatsoever. Perhaps my biggest regret is that my words are now serving as a distraction from our shared responsibility to heal the pain and suffering of those whose lives have been forever changed by unspeakable loss, and to take every step to ensure such a disaster never occurs again. One thing on which we can all agree, the heart of every Texan breaks for each and every family shattered by this tragedy. I pray that those who are suffering find peace and comfort in the difficult days ahead and commit myself to helping the entire community heal and recover. Moving forward, I will do my very best to listen, learn, grow, and serve my community as I have always done, because that is really who I am. With deep regret, Christina Props, MD, July 8th, 2025. So let's take a look at that apology. We
We're
have our
going to
usual
have to.
criteria. Yeah.
I'm all over the
Was there an
place with it.
expression of regret? There was an expression of regret. She used words like deep regret and clarified that she did not intend to cause harm. So I would give that a check. Was there an explanation of what went wrong? Well, she said the post was premature and made out of frustration, and that the post was made before the loss of life was known, which may or may not be true. So I'm going to give her partial credit for that one. I think she probably, if she didn't know that there was loss of life, she probably could have known. And I think she certainly made her post out of frustration and maybe a little bit of anger and didn't think about the situation on the ground. So again, partial credit for the explanation of what went wrong. Acknowledgement of responsibility. She said, I take full responsibility, which is a magic phrase in the apology world. It doesn't get you off the hook, but it's better than I'm sorry if anyone was offended. So I give her full score for acknowledgement of responsibility. Declaration of repentance. She did express regret and clarified that her views were misrepresented by her phrasing, but she didn't clearly state what she's doing differently moving forward. So partial credit there. And again, for offer of repair, nothing. There's no offer of community service, donation, outreach, or any action beyond deleting her original post. So no offer of repair. And no outright request for forgiveness, though she did say she regretted what she'd done several times, and she did ask people not to go after other people, but that's kind of more like damage control. So I give her no score for a request for forgiveness. And overall, I'm going to give her a 4 out of 10. So it's not a total disaster, but it's not enough to rebuild trust. What do you think, Mr. Theo?
So I think your assessment, as usual, is spot on. And I wanted to be careful. I mean, on no planet would it be a highly rated apology, right? It comes
Right.
after she receives a shit ton of criticism.
Yeah.
And so yeah. And then also I have a hard time separating the offense from my feelings around the offense, right? Or the incident from the apology, which makes me offer it a really lower score, right?
Uh-huh.
And so, I'm going to give it like a, I don't know, 6, maybe a 5.5. Let's go with a 5.5 because she does take full responsibility for what she said. Of course, she has to. It was her post. And on many, well, I shouldn't say on many levels, but I have certainly had that thought or those feelings, not about the victims, right? But just in general in news where people are like, oh my God, my benefits are going to get cut. I didn't know that was going to happen. And then I will think, well, that's what you voted for. So you get what you voted for, right? But the flood and all that, it's very different. And it was just dumb as fuck for a medical doctor to post something publicly, right?
Really dumb.
Of course, people are going to think that you were not giving them proper treatment if you know that they're from a different political perspective, right? Than you. It was, and I mean, she's a graduate of Princeton for undergrad.
She?
Yeah, and or Yale. I read something, and I know it was an Ivy League school, and it was Princeton or Yale, and then graduated from Tulane Medical School. So academically gifted, not stupid, right? Or maybe very rich parents. What do I know? But either way, you're highly educated. Dumb, fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm talking myself into a 3.
A lower score.
Yeah. So 5. But again, I do like that she repeatedly says she is responsible for what she said. Because yes, she is.
She is.
But then, am I also giving her a slightly higher score because our politics align? What a world we live in where political alignment now is like a data point to take into consideration when I have to evaluate my feelings.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Yeah. So that's like a 4.75 out of 10 on average, which is not the worst apology we've ever seen. Certainly not the best. Was the original post monstrous? No. But like you said, it was glib, smug, and poorly timed. And when you're a pediatrician, people expect empathy. So she failed on that front. Her apology showed some basic awareness, but it lacked the real humility or action needed for long-term repair. And remember, everyone, some things are better left unsaid, especially
Uh-huh.
on Facebook.
Uh-huh. You can think
Yeah,
all you want.
especially if you're a pediatrician.
Don't
Yep.
post.
Don't post. Don't ever say anything publicly. That's the rule.
Right. Stay home. Do nothing.
Do nothing. So how about a who's sorry now or an apology expected? Do you have one of these?
Well, so I do have something on the history of pediatrics, which is very short, right?
Okay.
Much like the patients in pediatrics world, they're very short. Ha, 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 ha. All right, let's see here. So the roots of pediatric medicine trace back to ancient civilizations, Egyptian medical papyri? I could say papyrus,
I think.
but I don't know the plural for it. Papyri, whatever. Old papers, old clay tablets. No, old medical records. That's what we're going to call them. From around 1500 BC, contain references to childhood illnesses and treatments, and both Hippocrates and Gallian discussed diseases affecting children. However, these early efforts were not really distinct from adult medication. Children were seen as smaller, weaker versions of adults with little understanding of the unique physiological needs in childhood. In the Middle Ages, childhood was often viewed through a theological or moral lens rather than a medical one. Infant mortality was high, and many childhood diseases went untreated or misunderstood. By the Renaissance and Enlightenment periods, however, growing interest in anatomy and empirical observation laid the groundwork for more specialized medical study. Physicians like Thomas Fair, who published The Book of Children, which is spelled Bokechyldren, somehow Fair and I are related. He published that in 1545, began advocating for pediatric-focused care. The birth of pediatrics as a specialty occurs in the 18th and 19th century. In 1802, the Hôpital des Enfants Malades, which is the hospital for sick children, opened in Paris. And that sounds like the title of a horror movie to me. The first hospital in the Western world devoted exclusively to children's health care. It's marked a turning point in recognizing children as a unique medical population. The 19th century also saw the rise of pediatric textbooks, medical training, and the establishment of similar children's hospitals in London, Philadelphia, and Boston. And then, as you might imagine, in the 20th century, things really solidify and are much more in line with what we now would recognize as pediatric medicine. So I'll say that was the one thing in the story where I was like, okay, what's an interesting thing in here that might add a little more detail? What type of person would be drawn to pediatrics and, somebody who's loving and compassionate and likes children, or somebody who really hates kids and likes to see them sick? One or the other.
Oh my God.
Yes. And so that's what I'm bringing to the show today.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then as for who's sorry now or apology expected?
Yeah. So I've got a apology expected, and that's Walmart, and they're recalling 850,000 water bottles after 2 people were blinded. So Ozark Trail 64-ounce stainless steel insulated water bottles sold at Walmart since 2017 have been found to present a safety hazard. Lids can forcefully eject when opening after storing carbonated or perishable beverages, posing a serious risk. 2 individuals suffered permanent vision loss after being struck in the eye by an ejecting lid. So I expect an apology from Walmart or Ozark Trail or both pretty soon.
Wow. I can't even imagine that. I mean, it can, right? But something as innocent as I put my,
a water
let's
bottle.
call it soda pop. My soda pop.
Uh-huh.
Holy moly. I had not heard that at all.
It would never occur to me to put soda pop in a water bottle. But, I mean, that doesn't mean that I'm better than anyone else, but I'm just saying it never occurred to me. Who knows? But I can imagine people putting their kombucha in or something, which is sort of lightly carbonated and maybe not thinking anything of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And having it backfire on them.
Wow. Well, in the Trump regime, maybe they will give the manufacturer a medal for working so
Probably.
hard to produce bottles. Yeah. And sorry about your vision, everybody. No
Yeah.
Medicaid for you. My
Yeah.
apology expected. And there's a possibility this might come, right?
Okay.
Yep. Is from Pam Bondi, the
Oh, wow.
head of the Department of Justice, who
Oh,
famously
God.
quoted, or she stated in February in a Fox News interview, February of 2025 in a Fox News interview, that the Epstein files were on her desk. And then in
Right.
June, or was it this week?
This week.
Probably. I haven't been tracking it too much. This week, suddenly there's no there. Yeah, we were all concerned about Epstein, but guess what, everybody? It turned out it wasn't a problem at all. And so, there aren't any Epstein files. Sorry, right? And now there are Epstein files, but they were created by Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton and Comey, right? And so we shouldn't be paying any attention to them at all. And I strongly suspect that Pam Bondi will be saying something like, "I'm sorry, I misspoke."
I hope so, but I don't know.
Oh, she'll say, "I'm sorry, I misspoke" in February about the files, which don't exist, except they do, except Hillary Clinton wrote them. And so, yeah. I'll say this for Trump. I did read a post that he made. Try not to typically, but he is a master at the spin. Wow. Is he turned this whole, well, the files aren't there situation into, hey, everybody, listen, MAGA, you're getting upset because the left wants you to be upset. They're making this an issue. You need to own them by not caring. Masterful is all I will say. I
hope for once they see through it.
Pardon me?
I said, I hope for once they see through it, but I don't give them too much credit.
Some of them, it seems to not be going away, right? Which is why I think Pam Bondi will come forward and issue some type of an apologetic statement or, say she's sorry on some level to add a little more smoke so that people can't really see what's going on. And who knows? I don't know how the MAGA mind functions or thinks. I've never studied cult behavior, but at this point, to believe Donald Trump, you just simply are believing your cult leader, and you can't drink that Kool-Aid fast enough, you guys, for me.
Yeah.
I may be apologizing for that statement in the future when 10,000 people drink Kool-Aid and die. Anyway, Pam will be apologizing.
All right, good. I'd love to see her apologize for something, for anything, really.
But she won't be apologizing for the shit she should be, right?
No, of course not.
I'll let it go.
So I think that's it for this week. Thanks, everyone, for listening, as usual. We'll probably be back next week. And in the meantime, stay cool, cucumbers, in this summer weather.
Don't trip potato chip in the summer weather. There you go.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you for listening to Apologies Accepted, the podcast.
You can find links to the articles and the sources in the show notes.
To submit an apology or find out more, visit us at apologiesaccepted.net, where you can also find our merchandise.
We're on Twitter at Apologies Accepted.
And on Instagram at apologies.accepted.
You can support our important work at Patreon.com/Apologies Accepted.
And fuck Facebook.
Bye.
Bye.